A company has a cost function, C of Q equals 4,000 plus 2Q dollars, and a revenue function, R of Q equals 10Q dollars. So if we consider the cost function, say C of Q is 4,000 plus 2Q, we see the intercept, 4,000, refers to the fixed costs. And the other term, and the 2, the slope, is the variable cost per item. If we look at the revenue function, 10Q, since revenue is price times quantity, and Q represents the quantity, then we understand 10 as the price. And we'll assume this is in dollars. Now, let's consider the break-even point. The break-even point is the level of production at which both the cost and the revenue are equal. It's when we would have no profit. So if we were to graph the revenue function and also graph the cost function, what we would be looking at is the point of intersection. And it turns out the point of intersection would be at 500 units and $5,000. We could also reach this by solving the equation revenue 10Q equal the cost 4,000 plus 2Q. If you were to solve this, you could easily figure out that the quantity is 500 items. Since we're talking about profit, let's create a profit function. I'll use capital P of Q is profit. Profit is simply the revenue minus the cost. So we'd have 10Q minus, and in parentheses, 4,000 plus 2Q. And if we were to simplify this, that would simplify to be 8Q minus 4,000. That would be our profit function. If I were to include the profit function on our graph, so we come down here at negative 4,000, and then we increase slightly up, what we should notice is we would intersect the Q-axis at the exact same quantity where we broke even. That's where the profit would be equal to 0. So on the graph, let's just be sure that we're looking at the right things. This is the revenue function. This is the cost function. This is our profit function. Consider this. The height of this function is equal to the gap between the revenue and the cost. And so there we're showing a positive profit. Down here, the gap, here we have a negative negative profit. Here, this should represent the same gap, but now we have revenue is less than the cost, so revenue minus cost would be negative. So I've shown that in red.